Hi, this is Bob from Hobby Concepts, back with part 6 of my Hemmt trailer build. I know it's been a little while since the last part. I had some other work I had to get done, but back on it, and it's looking really good. So let's get started. Alright, so last video I finished up this front deck, and now on this one I'm going to make the mechanism to operate this neck. And my plan is to put a couple servos underneath here and have the servos be able to lift this up and down. So that's the theory. I'll see what I can do here. I'm looking at the bottom of the trailer here, and I think the theory is going to be to do something like this and mount a servo in here and then have an arm on this, so when the servo moves it lifts it up. And my plan is to use one of these little servo testers that I got off eBay from China and mount it so the knob is coming through the side of the trailer, so you can turn the knob and make it go up and down. I could also RC it, but the theory of this is, let's see here. In the right direction here. The theory of this is that this operates the servo with the knob, and that will make my thing go up and down, and I'll hook both servos to it. It's got places to hook both servos, and I'll put a little battery pack in here, a battery holder for 4 AA's. That should work. Because these servos turn the same direction, I've got to mount them the same direction, which means a little bit different mounting for each one. So I made a bracket here out of a piece of aluminum that I'm going to bolt there for this servo. And that'll bolt down to this area. And then this one is just a simple piece of aluminum that'll bolt to the side of this channel like this. And that puts the arms in a similar location. So I can run rods to I'll probably make an arm out of a piece of aluminum to bolt on the bottom of this, and hopefully that will move it up. So I'm going to bolt those down and mount the servos. I'm going to probably have to remove this deck so I can get in here and drill this channel. Well, I'm going to just hook one servo up to start with because I want to get the geometry right. I made this little horn, which I'm going to bend 90 degrees with my metal bender, and then I'll put an extended length arm on here, and then we will see what I got. I've got my servo here set up for a little test, and I just have an arm on it kind of temporarily. I made a link out of some Tamiya ball ends, and I just want to see if this does what I think it's going to do, and it looks like it does. It's not, the arm is too flexible, so I'm going to put a heavier arm on it and then add the second servo. So it looks like I've got the geometry right. Okay, well, I'd say that's pretty successful so far. The little servo tester has a neat feature. It'll plug in up to 3 servos. So I've got these 2 servos now hooked up, drive them together, and that should keep everything straight. Now I just have to make another one of these links, and we'll try it out. This little tester has a couple other features too. It has a center feature, which is really neat if you're setting up like a king hauler and you want to center the servo to put the steering horn on it. And it's got a feature where it just works the servo, and then a feature that gives you the operation. So Yeah, cool little thing. Bought it for like $3 on eBay. Well, you can see I've got my linkages hooked up. So we'll flip this thing over. Oh yeah, plenty of power. Yeah, well, that does what I want. Nice thing about this setup is I can RC it later if I want to put a receiver in the trailer, which I might do. Okay, now I guess I can go about detailing this surface. Time to detail this deck and these arms. You can see on this trailer here, the arms actually have a lip that the deck has a lip that folds over the edge, and then there's a shackle here. So I'm going to drill for the shackle, and I cut some little pieces of aluminum which I will glue on with JB weld to make the lip over the edge. So I'm going to remove this deck and work on the deck separately now. I've got the pieces bonded on there. I've got the holes drilled for the shackle. This piece is pretty well done, so now I have to surface it. As I mentioned in an earlier video, I got this RC four-wheel drive diamond plate aluminum. I like this stuff because it's real aluminum. It's not plastic. Let's get it out here. If I can. Yeah, it's a real sheet of diamond plate. So on the real trailer, this area is diamond plate. Now, I can't use my drawing to help me because on the drawing it's tilted up, so not actual size. So I'm going to be doing some measuring to cut the diamond plate, but I will cut a piece that this shape and get it stuck down. I cut out a piece of this diamond plate, so now I've just got to attach it to the plate, and I will have my fold-up section done. I've been thinking about double sticky tape, but I don't like that idea, so I think I'm going to mix some thin epoxy and spread it on here and bond it on with that. If it doesn't stick good, I can always go back later, but I think it will stick. I'm going to use this Finish Cure epoxy, which is quite thin. So I've already measured out 2 parts here. And a couple things about epoxy. One is I always wear gloves. The stuff gets everywhere. And 2 is I always plan on throwing everything away when I'm done. So I use disposable cups, disposable brushes. I'm going to toss everything. So we'll mix up some of this epoxy here. And the slower curing the epoxy is, the better it sticks. I've roughed up the surface of this with a file and some sandpaper. The surface of this on the back side is got a pattern of divots in it from the diamond plate pattern, so I think it'll provide a pretty good grip. And what the heck, if it doesn't stick good, I'll pull it off and try something else. But I think this will work just fine. I know this is a little slow part, but if it works good, I'm going to use this method to put all the wood decking on the trailer. So I thought I'd show it here, and then I won't show it again in later videos. Okay, so I've got that mixed up good. use a disposable chip brush, and we'll just spread the epoxy on here. Extra on the ends, it'll ooze out, but I can just clean it off later with sandpaper. Okay, now that's my part. Lay it on there. Check how everything fits on the bottom side. That is right where I wanted it. See, I've got some clamps ready to go. Looks good on the edges. Now I know they say 20 minutes, but I will be letting this dry for a few hours. Yeah, looks good. Okay, I'm going to add a few more small clamps and we'll let it dry. While the epoxy is drying, I took a few minutes and took every bolt out and did the holes. I countersunk them because a few of the screws were sticking up and I needed a flat surface to lay the wood decking on. I also added these two little pieces, which makes my deck the correct length. So just did a little cleanup on this, and I'll be ready to, I'm going to put it back together and just make sure everything works after the pieces dry, and then we'll go on to the next part. I got my clamps off, let it dry overnight. You can see a little bit of epoxy that oozed out, so I've got to clean that up, trim the edges. I'll throw some primer on and we'll get it mounted back up here temporarily to make sure everything works. I've got my neck bolted back on and my servos hooked back up. I found a little battery tray in my scrap stuff, so I added some double stick tape to it. Mount that down here. I also drilled a few holes in the aluminum chassis so I can run tie wraps. My plan is to take this servo tester and drill a hole through the side here and run the knob through the side, but I'm not going to do that now because I want to get the sides detailed first. But I am going to hook this up and just test everything. Added some batteries, and that works just fine. One of the things I have left to do down here on the bottom, the trailer has this step that actually sits right here, holds this up a little bit. I have to build that. Again, I'm not going to do that right now, but that way that holds the trailer up. You can see the servos hold that up just fine. I'll hook this all up and do one more little test. Well, this will be the end of part 6. As I mentioned, I'm starting at the front and moving backwards, so now I've got this section done. The operation is excellent. I do have to build, as I mentioned, the little steps down here, but I'm very pleased with how this is all working out. On the next video, I'm going to work on the sides here, doing the detail of the supports for the edge of the bed and the rails down here. So that'll be coming up. If you want to see that, just go ahead and subscribe. I appreciate you all watching. I really like the nice comments on this trailer. It's kind of a unique piece. I'm really pleased with how it's working. Thanks again for watching.